On a crisp September morning, 18,000 European cavalry stood poised. Below, an empire lay vulnerable. From Kahlenberg's heights, a thunderous wave descended. The largest cavalry charge in history began its terrifying momentum. Against 150,000, 18,000 riders struck with unimaginable force. An empire's siege was instantly shattered. The thunderous charge had achieved the impossible. Vienna and Europe were saved in a single devastating blow. But how did a single city, besieged by overwhelming odds, reach this pivotal moment of salvation? Summer 1683. The heart of Christian Europe, Vienna, stood on the precipice. Its fate hung by a thread. From the east, an awe-inspiring force of 150,000 Ottoman warriors marched relentlessly towards the city. This was an empire's war machine, outnumbering Vienna's brave defenders by nearly 4-1. Vienna was more than a city. It was the crucial shield, the last bastion of the Holy Roman Empire. Its fall would not be an isolated defeat, but a catastrophic blow to the very fabric of Western civilization. A domino effect threatened to sweep across Christian Europe, reshaping the continent forever under a new dominion. The proud legacy of the Holy Roman Empire, centuries old, stood on the brink of absolute annihilation. Inside Vienna's besieged walls, desperate pleas for aid echoed, but few believed salvation was truly possible. How could a city, so utterly isolated and outmatched, hope to defy such an overwhelming, relentless power? And by whom would this impossible, desperate gamble be undertaken? Who would answer freedom's final call? This was a moment where history's trajectory pivoted, a turning point etched in blood, courage, and fire. Join us as we journey into one of humanity's most dramatic struggles, a battle for a continent's soul. This is the story of 150,000 versus 40,000, the cavalry charge that stopped an empire. A confrontation where the sheer weight of numbers met an unstoppable, defiant spirit. From these battlefields, an epic tale of survival, strategy, and unparalleled bravery emerged. Explore the events that led to this monumental clash and its lasting impact on our world. Prepare for an immersive cinematic journey into the Battle of Vienna, 1683. Don't miss it. The 17th century was a crucible for Europe, a tapestry of shifting alliances, ancient feuds, and emerging powers. Beneath the gilded facades of royal courts, a profound tension simmered, threatening to ignite continent-wide conflict. Yet, a far greater shadow loomed from the east, a formidable power poised to reshape the very course of history. For centuries, the Ottoman Empire had been a relentless force, its expansionism a defining feature of the age. From its Anatolian heartland, Ottoman power surged, driven by military might and an insatiable desire for conquest. This centuries-long rivalry defined the borders, alliances, and indeed, the very identity of Eastern and Central Europe. A constant tug of war, where empires clashed not just for land, but for ideological and religious dominance. Every generation witnessed new campaigns, each adding another chapter to a saga of unyielding conflict. The Balkans had long been the crucible of this expansion, a strategic gateway into the heart of the continent. Cities like Belgrade and Nicopolis fell, transforming once Christian strongholds into Ottoman bastions deep within Europe. The Ottoman tide was relentless, each conquest a stepping stone, pushing the frontier ever westward, closer to Vienna. Their elite janissaries and formidable cavalry struck fear into the hearts of their adversaries across the continent. For the populations of the Balkans, Ottoman rule brought profound change, often marked by hardship and cultural assimilation. From the Balkans, the relentless advance continued into Hungary, creating a direct and immediate threat to Central Europe. The crushing defeat at Mohacs in 1526 annihilated the Hungarian nobility, opening the plains to Ottoman domination. Centuries of warfare had left Hungary a divided land, its fortresses constantly besieged, its people caught between empires. By the 17th century, Ottoman presence was firmly established, their garrisons dotting the landscape, an undeniable fact. The Habsburg monarchy, bulwark against the East, was under immense, continuous pressure, their resources stretched thin. While the Ottoman Empire pressed from the east, Europe itself was a fractured continent, rife with internal divisions, religious conflicts, a legacy of the Reformation, pitted Protestant against Catholic, weakening any unified Christian front. Political rivalries among the great powers consumed much attention, overshadowing the looming threat from the Ottoman East. France, often allied with the Ottomans against the Habsburgs, prioritized its own geopolitical interests over broader European security. The Holy Roman Empire, a fragmented entity of independent states, struggled to muster a cohesive or effective response. This profound disunity meant that no concerted effort could be mounted against the increasingly emboldened Ottoman forces. Hesitations were widespread. Fear of internal enemies often outweighed the external threat, paralyzing decisive action. Many European leaders, embroiled in their own struggles, simply failed to grasp the magnitude of the approaching danger. Diplomatic efforts to forge a united front repeatedly faltered, leaving individual nations exposed and vulnerable. Warnings from the frontier were often dismissed or underestimated, until the Ottoman war machine was at their very gates. And so, as the Ottoman juggernaut rolled westward, Vienna found itself increasingly isolated, a solitary sentinel. Its strategic importance as the Habsburg capital and gateway to Western Europe made its vulnerability a dire concern. The city stood alone, a symbol of defiance against an empire that had relentlessly pushed its borders for centuries. This was the stage set for an impending catastrophe, a clash that would determine the fate of Christian Europe. Vienna, the bastion of Central Europe, faced an existential threat. The Ottoman tide seemed unstoppable. Inside the besieged city, desperation mounted. Every passing day tightened the Ottoman noose around its heart. This was not merely a city under siege, it was a civilization teetering on the brink of collapse. Europe remained fractured, a patchwork of kingdoms hesitant to unite against the looming common enemy. Emperor Leopold I, to flee Vienna, wrestled with the immense burden of his empire's survival. He desperately sought alliances, sending frantic dispatches to monarchs across the continent for aid. The pleas reached distant courts, where old rivalries often overshadowed the immediate, shared danger. Many remained hesitant, weighing their own interests against the terrifying prospect of Ottoman domination. The Holy Roman Empire's internal divisions hampered any swift, coordinated response to the growing threat. But hope glimmered from an unexpected quarter: the vast, powerful Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth. There, King John III Sobieski, a renowned military genius, pondered the fate of Christendom. His mind, keen and strategic, began to forge a daring plan, fueled by a fierce sense of duty. Diplomatic channels hummed with activity. A crucial alliance between Poland and the Empire was taking shape. The vision of a united front, a Holy League, slowly coalesced amidst fervent, high-stakes negotiations. This audacious concept required overcoming centuries of animosity and deeply ingrained political mistrust. Against all odds, the Holy League was formally forged. Europe had found a desperate, fragile unity. An alliance born of necessity, its members understood the monumental task that now lay before them. This was not just politics. It was a sacred vow to defend their faith and their very way of life. The Holy League brought together diverse peoples: Bavarians, Saxons, Poles, and imperial forces. Forging these disparate armies into a cohesive fighting force presented an unprecedented logistical challenge. Hundreds of thousands of men, supplies, and animals needed to converge across vast, difficult terrain. The journey alone was epic. Hundreds of miles, through mountains and rivers, under relentless pressure. Every step was a testament to their resolve, a race against time as Vienna's cries grew fainter. From north, south, east, and west, the Allied forces slowly began their arduous march towards destiny. 70,000 men, an army forged from desperation, began their historic, desperate march to save Vienna. The combined might of Christendom was finally mobilizing, a beacon of hope against the Ottoman darkness. This grand alliance, a desperate gamble, was Europe's last, best hope for survival and freedom. The fate of a continent now rode on these weary shoulders. The final scramble had begun. The Ottoman Empire's ambition knew no bounds. A colossal army marched, its sights set on the heart of Europe. Vienna, the gateway to the west, now stood as the last bastion. Its fate would soon be decided. Grand Vizier Kara Mustafa Pasha, architect of this colossal siege, meticulously planned Vienna's downfall. His initial strategy was clear: overwhelm the city with sheer force, denying any chance of relief. As spring turned to summer, Vienna became a besieged island, surrounded by an ocean of Ottoman might. The earth itself groaned under the relentless labor. Miles of intricate trenches began to snake across the landscape. These aren't mere ditches, but a sophisticated network, designed to protect attackers and conceal their advance. Each new trench brought the siege engines closer, inching towards the proud walls of the Habsburg capital. Below ground, a silent war began. Expert sappers burrowed, intending to undermine Vienna's very foundations. Mines detonated with terrifying force, tearing gaping holes in defenses built over centuries of European conflict. Massive cannons, some forged specifically for this campaign, now pointed their muzzles directly at Vienna's heart. Then came the barrage, a symphony of destruction, designed to shatter spirits and crumble stone. Day and night, the city endured a relentless rain of iron. Its mighty defenses were slowly being pulverized. Even within the walls, no place was truly safe. Homes and churches became victims of the merciless assault. Every impact was a grim reminder of the overwhelming power brought to bear against the defiant city. Inside, General Kahlenberg, though wounded, epitomized Vienna's unyielding spirit and determined resistance. The garrison, though outnumbered and outgunned, met every assault with a desperate, courageous defense. When the walls finally gave way, the fighting descended into brutal, close-quarters combat for every inch. It was not just soldiers, but every citizen who became a defender. Vienna fought as one united body. Their courage, born of desperation, transformed ordinary citizens into an extraordinary force of resistance. Beneath the city, life continued in grim cellars, a testament to the human will to survive. But the siege wore on. Food grew scarce, water rationed, and hope began to dwindle with each passing day. Hunger and thirst became constant companions. Vienna was slowly being starved into submission. Disease spread through the cramped city, adding another grim foe to the defenders' growing list of challenges. Ammunition became a precious commodity. Every shot fired was a calculated risk, a desperate gamble. The enemy's camp stretched for miles, a constant crushing reminder of the overwhelming numbers outside. The ceaseless bombardment, the hunger, the constant threat of attack took a heavy psychological toll. Despair was a pervasive enemy, eroding morale as effectively as any Ottoman cannonball could destroy stone. Yet, even in the darkest hours, a spark of defiance flickered within Vienna's resolute commander. Faith and community became pillars of strength, offering solace in a city pushed to its absolute limits. Though battered and bruised, Vienna's spirit remained unbroken. Its tenacious resistance astounded the world. Unseen by the suffering city, a beacon of hope began to gather on the distant horizon. The Ottoman noose tightened further, their intricate trenches bringing them to the very foot of the city walls. The next major assault would come from below, targeting the city's most vulnerable defensive points. A thunderous roar signaled another catastrophic breach. The main bastion crumbled under relentless Ottoman sapping. With the wall shattered, the fight moved into the breach itself, a desperate struggle for survival. Amidst the chaos, the defenders fought with suicidal bravery, holding back wave after wave of attackers. Every life offered, every inch defended, bought precious time for a city teetering on the brink. Their commander, Kahlenberg, was everywhere, a rallying point against the overwhelming Ottoman tide. Vienna had become a desperate fortress, its outer defenses gone, but its spirit remained unbroken. The map of Vienna was shrinking. The Ottoman forces were closing in, a chokehold around the city. Messages of imminent collapse were sent, a final desperate plea for aid from a city facing its last stand. With resources depleted and hope waning, Vienna's tenacious resistance was truly against overwhelming odds. But the city's heroic, prolonged stand had bought time. Time for a relief force to march, unseen, towards destiny. From the heart of Poland, an army of salvation stirred. King John III Sobieski prepared for an epic journey. His resolve, forged in countless battles, became the beacon for a desperate continent. Europe's fate rested with him. The journey began, a relentless march through unforgiving terrain. Rain and mud became constant, brutal companions. Logistical nightmares plagued every step. Heavy cannons and vital supplies had to traverse treacherous, forgotten paths. Fatigue gnawed at their spirit, yet an unyielding determination propelled them. Vienna waited, held captive. Rivers became formidable obstacles, their icy currents challenging men and beasts. Every crossing was a test. Sobieski meticulously charted their course, a path fraught with peril and demanding absolute precision from his forces. He instilled purpose and iron will, preparing his diverse commanders for the monumental task ahead. Unity was paramount. Under the cold, indifferent stars, the weary army sought fleeting rest. Hope flickered, fueled by shared resolve. Through dense forests and winding valleys, they moved, a shadow army, their approach shrouded in secrecy. Critical intelligence arrived, confirming the desperate plight of Vienna. Time was running out for the besieged city. Finally, the Kahlenberg hills. From this vantage point, Vienna, choked by Ottoman siege, lay exposed below. A city under siege, battered and bleeding, waited for salvation. Its fate hung precariously day by day. From the heights of Kahlenberg, a breathtaking, terrifying panorama unfolded. The Ottoman host was immense. Sobieski meticulously surveyed the enemy. Every detail of their deployment, every weakness, was carefully observed. Below, the Ottoman camp buzzed with confident activity. They remained oblivious to the imminent gathering storm above. A critical council of war convened. Diverse commanders united by a common foe, their strategies now converged. Strategic debate raged, balancing aggressive assaults with cautious deployment. Every decision carried monumental risk. Sobieski's genius emerged. The main thrust of the attack was precisely chosen for maximum devastating impact. The arduous task of bringing heavy artillery up the Kahlenberg began. Every foot gained was a grueling triumph. The Winged Hussars, a legendary force, gathered in the shadows, their anticipation a palpable electric current. Imperial foot soldiers, disciplined and resolute, silently took their positions. Their role would be pivotal. Cannons were meticulously placed, their muzzles aimed. Every gun would unleash a torrent of fire. Under the cloak of darkness, final preparations unfolded. The air crackled with anticipation, a silent tension. Sobieski penned the final orders, his strategic vision clear. Coordinated movements would be critical for victory. Messengers rode through the night, ensuring every commander understood their precise role in the coming onslaught. The plan was daring, a coordinated descent, culminating in a colossal cavalry charge. Precision and timing were everything. The imperial forces of Lorraine established their left flank, ready to spearhead the initial crucial advance. German contingents positioned themselves on the right, a formidable bulwark of disciplined infantry, awaiting command. Hidden on the Kahlenberg, an unprecedented alliance had gathered. Europe's combined might lay waiting. Blades were honed, muskets prepared. The quiet ritual of soldiers before battle, preparing for the inevitable. In the quiet moments before dawn, prayers were offered. Soldiers sought solace and strength before the inevitable. Below, the Ottoman camp stirred, oblivious. Daily routines commenced, unaware of the lurking monumental danger. Grand Vizier Kara Mustafa, overconfident in his siege, dismissed minor warnings. His hubris would prove fatal. A lone Ottoman scout glanced at the hills. Misinterpreting the faint movements, he reported nothing significant. As pre-dawn light kissed the Kahlenberg, a heavy fog descended, shrouding the Allied army from prying eyes. Horses stomped and whinnied, sensing the imminent colossal struggle. The mounts themselves felt the tension. Sobieski turned his gaze eastward. The first light of dawn signaled the hour of destiny had finally arrived. A final, tense exchange of glances among commanders. The fate of Vienna, and Europe rested upon them. As the sun broke through, the fog lifted. A staggering sight revealed itself. Europe's army, ready to descend. The vast Ottoman camp lay exposed, suddenly vulnerable beneath the colossal shadow of the Kahlenberg heights. Poised like an avalanche, the combined European might awaited the signal. The moment of truth approached. Then, a single piercing bugle call echoed across the hills. The drums began their inexorable thunderous roll. The calm shattered. Europe's champions began their descent, ushering in one of history's most pivotal battles. Above the besieged city, a formidable force lay hidden, poised for a moment that would etch itself into history. Jan Sobieski III, King of Poland, knew this day would determine the fate of an entire continent. 18,000 horsemen, a diverse alliance, stood ready, the largest cavalry charge ever conceived. Spearheading them, the legendary Winged Hussars. Their terrifying appearance alone was a weapon. Below, the Ottoman army remained confident, oblivious to the seismic wave about to crash upon them. The moment arrived. With a single powerful gesture, Sobieski unleashed the unimaginable. A trumpet blast echoed, a chilling premonition of chaos for those about to face its fury. The ground trembled. Slowly, inexorably, the thunder of history began its long, terrifying roll. Lances bristled like an iron forest, advancing with an unwavering resolve towards the enemy lines. Then, a distant rumble grew, an ominous cloud of dust rising. Recognition dawned. Terror. 18,000 horsemen, a living avalanche, descended from the hills, an unstoppable torrent of steel. Determined gazes fixed upon their objective. These were not merely soldiers, they were instruments of fate. The legendary wings, designed for psychological terror, shimmered. They were death, made manifest. The air vibrated with a unique, terrifying sound. The collective shriek of approaching destiny. Polish, German, Austrian, a coalition of thunder, united in a single, earth-shattering purpose. Confusion erupted. The Ottoman High Command scrambled, their well-ordered siege rapidly crumbling. The sheer scale was paralyzing. An entire army watched, mesmerized, as their end approached. Ottoman artillery fired frantically, yet their desperate rounds found little purchase against this overwhelming tide. The very ground shuddered violently, announcing the arrival of an unprecedented, cataclysmic force. Every stride brought them closer, transforming distant foes into desperate, individual targets. The first Ottoman defenses simply evaporated. Wood splintered, earth flew as the charge tore through. Lances found their mark, ripping through flesh and fabric. Ottoman standards fell, signaling despair. Tents ripped, supplies scattered. The organized siege camp transformed into a vortex of sheer panic. Even the elite janissaries, once unyielding, found themselves utterly broken by this human tidal wave. The cavalry cut deep, cleaving the Ottoman lines in two, sowing terror and utter disorganization. Resistance crumbled, hope vanished. The will to fight drained away, replaced by raw, primal fear. The battlefield became a maelstrom of steel and horseflesh. Survival, not victory, became the sole objective. Kara Mustafa Pasha watched his empire's ambition shatter. His grand design dissolved into chaos. Flight became a desperate scramble. No order, no strategy, only the primal instinct for self-preservation. The besieging army, once so confident, was now a broken, fleeing mob. The tide had definitively turned. Sobieski led from the front, pressing the advantage, ensuring there would be no Ottoman recovery. Exhausted but victorious, the cavalry had achieved the impossible. Their valor sealed Vienna's fate. As the sun set, it illuminated the devastation. A once mighty army lay shattered, its ambition broken. From the walls, a city held captive for months watched. Disbelief transformed into overwhelming, joyous relief. One charge, 18,000 men. An act of audacious courage that saved a city, a continent. The Battle of Vienna, decided by an unprecedented cavalry charge, became a legend, a testament to resolve. Kara Mustafa abandoned his treasures, his pride, and his vision of an Ottoman Europe. This was the high water mark.
At its peak,
From this moment, the Ottoman tide in
moved
Central
into
Europe
Central
would
Europe.
begin to recede. The Winged Hussars, symbols of Polish might, earned their immortal place in military lore. Vienna, the gateway to the West, was saved. A new chapter in European history had been dramatically written. The thunder of the Hussars echoed through time, a reminder of when an empire was stopped. Even today, the sheer audacious power of that charge continues to inspire military strategists globally. More than a battle, it was a turning point. It reshaped the geopolitical landscape of Europe forever. The Battle of Vienna, a legend born of courage, strategy, and the most epic cavalry charge in all history. The sun rose upon a scene of utter devastation, the mighty Ottoman siege broken, their forces in headlong retreat. What began as a tactical retreat quickly spiraled into a full-blown rout. Imperial discipline evaporated instantly. Fear replaced fervor as the once unstoppable army scattered, leaving behind the remnants of their grand ambition. The Holy League, relentless in victory, pursued the broken enemy, ensuring no chance of regrouping remained. The vast Ottoman encampment, once a symbol of overwhelming power, lay abandoned, a testament to their hurried flight. Victorious soldiers cautiously surveyed the scene, discovering an unimaginable trove of the Sultan's imperial wealth. Opulent treasures, a sultan's ransom, lay scattered, abandoned in the desperation of the Ottomans' swift retreat. The spoils of war were immense, providing both immediate reward and a symbolic triumph over their formidable foe. Inside Vienna, the exhausted defenders dared to hope as the sounds of battle faded and salvation approached. The gates of Vienna finally opened, ushering in an outpouring of relief and overwhelming jubilation. Joy erupted through the liberated city. A suffocating siege had ended with the arrival of their courageous saviors. Vienna had endured, and now celebrated. The city breathed again, its spirit unbroken by the immense trial. Far from Vienna, Kara Mustafa Pasha rode in shame, his grand imperial ambition shattered, his fate sealed. His strategic miscalculations were profound. An overconfident delay, underestimating European resolve, and fatal tactical errors. Kara Mustafa's obsession with capturing Vienna intact delayed the final assault and sealed the empire's defeat. He critically misjudged the speed and ferocity of the Holy League's relief army, proving his undoing. The Holy League's swift and decisive victory was a testament to unified command and brilliant military strategy. The legendary cavalry charge had not just won a battle, it had broken the will of an empire. News of the decisive victory spread like wildfire, carried by eager messengers across a relieved continent. From Rome to Warsaw, the news brought profound relief. Christendom had been saved from the Ottoman juggernaut. Royal courts across Europe rejoiced. The existential threat that had loomed for centuries was finally repelled. Vienna, once again, stood as the unyielding shield of Europe, a symbol of defiance and triumphant resilience. The Battle of Vienna forever altered history, ending the Ottoman advance and shaping the future of Europe. Beyond the immediate victory, the Battle of Vienna cast a long shadow across the centuries. This single, brutal engagement fundamentally altered the course of European history forever. It marked the definitive and undeniable end of Ottoman expansion into Central Europe. The tide, which had flowed westward for centuries, finally broke and began its long retreat. Vienna signaled the beginning of the Ottoman Empire's long, slow decline as a major European power. Their aggressive expansion ended. The Ottomans found themselves increasingly on the defensive. The psychological blow was immense, diminishing their aura of invincibility across the continent. Internally, the defeat exposed vulnerabilities, sparking political instability and economic strain for the empire. This pivotal battle dramatically reshaped the geopolitical map, influencing centuries of power dynamics. The victory profoundly bolstered the standing and power of the Holy Roman Empire. It solidified the Habsburg monarchy's influence, establishing them as a dominant Central European force. European Christian powers gained new confidence, uniting against future threats with greater resolve. Poland, under King Sobieski, solidified its reputation as a bulwark against Eastern threats. Their decisive cavalry charge cemented their image as formidable defenders of Christendom. Central Europe was effectively secured, free from the immediate, existential Ottoman threat. This liberation allowed for greater economic and cultural development across the region. Western Europe, no longer distracted by the Ottoman menace, could focus on its own internal advancements. It indirectly paved the way for broader historical trends, including the Enlightenment and modern state formation. The seeds of the sick man of Europe narrative were arguably sown on the fields of Vienna. The battle's legacy endures, celebrated as a monumental triumph and a symbol of European resilience. It redirected European geopolitical focus, setting the stage for future rivalries and conflicts. Vienna remains an enduring symbol of defiance, courage, and a coalition's power to change history. The echoes of that pivotal day resonate, reminding us how one battle reshaped an entire continent. The echoes of history often resonate loudest in quiet moments. Vienna stands today, a testament to resilience. Its walls once faced the precipice of conquest, a pivotal turning point for an entire continent's destiny. 150,000 versus 40,000. A titan struggle for the very soul and future of Europe. Against overwhelming odds, a desperate defense held, fueled by unyielding courage and steadfast resolve. Then, a thunderous charge, led by a king, shattered the Ottoman dream of European domination. King John III Sobieski, a defiant beacon of leadership, stood firm when all seemed lost, and the Winged Hussars, legends forged in fire, became Europe's ultimate, unyielding shield. Their bravery, etched into history, symbolizes unwavering spirit against the greatest threats. Vienna was more than a battle. It was a profound lesson in collective, unified resistance. It shaped the identity of a continent, altering its geopolitical trajectory for centuries to come. From the brink of collapse, Europe found its resolve, forging a future defined by unity. The legacy endures, a powerful reminder of freedom's price and eternal vigilance. Its profound impact still resonates, safeguarding liberties we cherish across generations and borders. Dive deeper into history's most epic struggles. Subscribe to a leading analysis channel today.